Hi all, welcome to another video, and this is actually my third attempt at making this video. Honestly, the first time I made the video, I accidentally pressed pause on my MacBook keyboard and then the recording stopped, and I'm not sure how to resume that after, once you press pause. Oh, by the way, I'm using QuickTime Video to record this video. And the second time, I recorded the full video, but then I realized that there was a couple of errors in there, so I thought I could fix that. And that brings us up to the third time. So hopefully I get it right this time. Alright, so in this video, I'll talk a little bit about some of the work that I've been doing on the file sharing app. And for the most part, this includes some of the fixes that I've made, as well as a few minor enhancements. Okay, now before we get on to that, it's a really nice day here in Sydney. It's beautiful, it's sunny, and it's just fantastic. I mean, sitting out here in my living room, it's awesome. Because I've got these floor to ceiling windows, and given the apartment is east facing, when the sun rises in the morning, it gets nice and warm. The glass heats up and it's really nice inside. So, which means that I don't need to turn on the heater. So yeah, it's really nice, and I'll be going out for a little walk in like the next hour or two, a little bit after lunchtime, and I hope it's not too cold outside because generally during the winter in Sydney, Australia, when it's nice and sunny, that just means that it's going to be really cold outside and it's going to be a very, very cold evening. So yeah, let's hope for the best. Alright, so let's move on to the work on the file sharing app. So for those of you who know, I've been working in this file sharing app, which is like uh, a file sharing app like Google Drive or Dropbox. And obviously, the version that I've got at this point is limited to to allowing users to upload PDF, .doc, MD, and basically text files, nothing like an image or a video. Uh, okay, so the first fix that I made for this app was to actually return a meaningful error message when the JWT token had expired. Speaking of JWT, JSON Web Token, I'm not sure if I've made any videos in the past talking about adding JWT authentication to the Spring Boot React app, which is the file sharing app. I'll have a look at the history of my videos and I'll see if I haven't made any videos on that. I'll make a video. But okay, so now about this issue. So what is this issue? Now the issue was when when the client sends a request to the server with an expired JWT token, what the server will do is it will actually error out. It will actually throw an exception, but it won't really send anything back to the client. And this was a bit of a concern because it's just really bad UX. Imagine you're a user and you try to do a certain action on the app, and there's an error. Something that you've done is not quite right, but you have no idea what the error was. You have no idea what you've not done correctly. That's terrible. That's just bad user experience. So obviously I have to fix this. So to dig a little bit deeper into this issue, this wasn't quite as straightforward as I would think, because the exception being thrown wasn't really caught in the controller. Because if it's caught in the controller, you can create a controller advise and put an exception handler for like expired JWT token in the controller advise. So it will just be every time the controller throws an exception, it would be caught in the global exception handler. This was actually happening in the OncePerRequestFilter class. So in Spring Security, when you add a security mechanism such as JWT authorization, JWT authentication, you would need to define what you call like you need to define a class that extends the OncePerRequestFilter class and implements the doFilter method. Now, the OncePerRequestFilter class is an interceptor. So what it would do is every time the request comes to the server, uh, it will intercept that request and it will check what it needs to check in the request headers to know if it should let the request go on or not. So in this case, it was like this for my jot. I had a jot auth filter. I put a link to the source code on GitHub in the description of this video, so check it out. So in my case, what was happening was that it was the jot auth filter. Every time the client, the React UI, would send a request to the server with an expired jot token, it will be caught in the doFilter method and the exception will be thrown there. So that means that the request never really goes to the controller. So the input, whatever endpoint you're calling, it won't really go there. It will just be, even before it gets to that, the exception will be thrown. So it took me a little bit of time to figure this out, and then obviously once I figured out, the solution is to add an exception handler, and obviously the a try catch block in the doFilter method, and one of the parameters of the doFilter method is a response. So and then you can write out a JSON response, which could be like once you catch the exception, like an expired jot exception, you can actually write out a meaningful error message that the client can get, and you can actually show to the user. So now what happens after I've implemented this, if the client is calling the backend with an expired jot token, it will just show an error message that okay, jot token expired. You need to re-log in. That's it, and problem solved. Because once you log in, you generate a new jot token anyway. That's what I've done, and this is a good interim solution. Obviously, I'll make more changes to the whole process and make it a bit more user friendly. Adding things such as refresh token and so on and so forth. But for now, this is okay. Now, one of the other issues that I had is like so it was allowing the wrong file type to be uploaded, and there was some errors in the file download. Now, allowing the wrong file type to be uploaded, that was actually a simple thing, because it just means that I hadn't added the logic to validate the file type in the upload method of the controller, but I had added it to the share file, share file via email method. So that was that, and as you know, you can only upload XML, .doc, .docx, or PDF and so on as files at this point. And then the other issue was the file download error. So every time after you've uploaded the file, you get the option of downloading the file through the UI. And every time that you download the file, when you open the downloaded file, it would just be like a file with some sort of error stack trees. Now, that was weird. Now this was really a problem with what I had done, because when I was migrating the UI to React-based components, when I migrated the whole download file function to its into an individual React component, I made a mistake and I didn't really include an extra query parameter, because that download file API call needs a query parameter for the username. I didn't do that, so that was an easy fix. And the next thing was, this was really weird, but what was happening was that every time you upload a file to S3, what it would do is it would actually create a little it would create a copy of that file in the location of your locally. It would create a copy of that file locally, so it would write it to disk, and that was weird. So you can imagine, if this is an app that's being used by millions of people, you can't really have that. Like, you can't really have like an app that actually saves every file that a user uploads onto disk. So you'd run out of space very soon. Now, this was a bug, and the thing is, when I first implemented that upload file method, uh, I was actually writing the contents of the file to an output stream. So I was creating an output stream with the file name, and I was writing the contents of that to. I was getting the bytes from, like, the byte array from the file, the contents of the file, and then I was writing it to disk. This was the problem, of course. So I resolved that. And how did I resolve it? I'll actually put I just don't write to the output stream, and I create a temporary file, and for that file I call a method called delete on exit, which what it does is it will mark the file ready for garbage collection. So the next time the JVM does its garbage collection, it will take that up. So this way you're not really creating a file, you're just creating a temporary file. Okay, so I'll actually put a link to the exact source code in the file sharing repo in the description of this video, so you can actually have a look at it and see what I've done. And yeah, that's pretty much it with all the fixes. Now, just to let you know what I've been working on, the fix that I've been working on right now is one of the issues with the GitHub Actions. So you see right now, this app is built as a monolithic Spring Boot React app. So when you do Maven Spring Boot run, it will actually fire up the React app as well. So I've got there's a plugin, the Maven frontend plugin, and it has a bit the few actions, like, it would try to install npm and so on and so forth. So there's an issue with this in terms of while it works locally, but when I deploy it to GitHub with GitHub Actions, the deployment the build fails. So that's something that I'm working on, and for that I've actually I'm working with ACT, one of the GitHub Actions tools that lets you test GitHub Actions locally. So I'll share more on that, but this is a very DevOpsy backend-ish problem that I'm looking at right now. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So thanks for watching, and please have a look at my repository on GitHub, and then you can give it a star. And if you like my videos, and if you like the stuff that I talk about or the work that I'm doing, you can support me by buying me a coffee, downloading my app, or reading my blog post. I'll put a link to the description of all of this in the description. I'll put a link to all of this in the description of this video. So cheers all, and until next time, I wish you well and live long and prosper.